Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you.
Holly, I have devoted myself to making Christina a proper young lady. That boy should be expelled.
Now, Miss Crawford.
She played mothers on screen, but her real-life role was even more remarkable. Priscilla Pointer, a quietly radiant presence in stage and screen for over 6 decades, passed away peacefully at the age of 100. Her life was a tapestry of performance, perseverance, and deep artistic legacy. Born in New York City in May 1924 to a family of artists, Priscilla began her journey in the theater, performing in classics such as A Streetcar Named Desire and The Country Wife. Alongside her husband, Jules Irving, she co-founded the influential San Francisco Actors Workshop, shaping a generation of American theater. Their love story, both creative and personal, remained a guiding light until his passing in 1979. Priscilla transitioned seamlessly into television and film, where her dignified strength and quiet depth made her unforgettable. In Dallas, she portrayed the elegant and complex Rebecca Barnes Wentworth. In Carrie, she appeared alongside her real-life daughter Amy Irving, beginning a unique series of on-screen mother-daughter collaborations that delighted audiences for decades. Her roles spanned every genre, from the haunting allure of Blue Velvet to the heartfelt moments in The Competition and Honeysuckle Rose. She brought grace to courtroom dramas like L.A. Law and warmth to family favorites like Touched by an Angel. Even as she entered her later years, Priscilla never left the craft she loved. Her final role came at age 84 in Sweet Nothing in My Ear, a testament to her enduring devotion to storytelling. Beyond the screen, Priscilla Pointer was a matriarch in every sense, to her family, to the acting world, and to generations of viewers. Her century-long life reminds us that elegance, empathy, and artistry never fade. They only grow deeper with time.
My family was different than other kids' families.
You know, I'll bet you got that psychologist wrapped around your finger.
Charley Scalies, the Philadelphia-born actor who left an unforgettable mark on 2 of television's most revered dramas, lived a life defined by heart, humor, and resilience. He passed away on May 1, 2025, at the age of 84, following a long journey with Alzheimer's disease. Born on July 19, 1940, Charley grew up above his father's pool hall, entertaining patrons with jokes and impressions. Though he studied at St. Joseph's College and built a successful career in business, his true passion always belonged to the stage. In his 50s, he reignited his love for performing, returning to community theater in Pennsylvania, where he played beloved roles in Guys and Dolls, Chicago, and The Wizard of Oz. His big break came later in life. In 2003, Charley captivated viewers as Horseface Pacusa in The Wire, bringing gritty authenticity to the longshoreman's world of loyalty and conflict. A year later, he appeared in The Sopranos as Coach Molinaro, a no-nonsense figure from Tony Soprano's past, haunting him in a dreamlike moral reckoning. Charley's screen credits extended to 12 Monkeys, Liberty Heights, Jersey Girl, and appearances on Law & Order and Cold Case. Off-screen, he was a devoted husband of 62 years, a proud father of 5, and a storyteller whose favorite audience was his family gathered at the dinner table. Though his career bloomed later than most, Charley Scalies proved that it is never too late to chase a dream. His life reminds us that authenticity, humility, and a good sense of humor can carry us through any chapter with grace.
Adrian got him.
got me, too. He's gonna use me.
Breaking news. Bruce Willis, the action hero who showed us the power of quiet strength. Where is he now? Let's talk about a man who redefined what it means to be a hero, not just on screen, but in real life. A man whose name is etched into the heart of action cinema and who, in recent years, has taught us all a deeper kind of courage. Of course, we're talking about Bruce Willis. And before we dive into this incredible story, we want to hear from you. What's your all-time favorite Bruce Willis role? Was it John McClane, Malcolm Crowe, or maybe something unexpected? Share it in the comments below. We love hearing your stories. Born on March 19, 1955, in Idar Oberstein, West Germany, Bruce Willis's rise to fame was anything but ordinary. Raised in New Jersey, he struggled with a childhood stutter, a challenge that might have silenced some, but not Bruce. He turned to acting, and in doing so, found his voice. That voice would go on to shake the walls of movie theaters across the globe. Bruce first stole America's heart with his role as David Addison on the hit television series Moonlighting in the 1980s. Witty, charming, unpredictable, he brought something different to television. But it was in 1988 that he truly changed the game. Die Hard introduced John McClane, a cop in bare feet, full of sarcasm and heart, and suddenly, Bruce Willis wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon, and he never looked back. With unforgettable performances in Pulp Fiction, 12 Monkeys, The Fifth Element, Armageddon, The Sixth Sense, and Unbreakable, Bruce proved he was more than just muscles and one-liners. He had depth, he had presence, he could make you laugh, cry, and cheer, sometimes all in the same scene. But behind the action hero persona, Bruce Willis's real strength was his humanity. He never played perfect characters, he played real ones. Flawed, funny, fierce when he needed to be. And it's that authenticity that made audiences trust him. You always believed Bruce. He never had to shout to be heard. As the years passed, Bruce's work continued, but fans started to notice something was changing. He was appearing in more films but speaking less. Directors began adjusting his dialogue, scripts were shortened, and in 2022, his family made a courageous announcement. Bruce had been diagnosed with aphasia, a condition that affects communication. That news shook the entertainment world and the people who had grown up with him. And in early 2023, his diagnosis was updated to frontotemporal dementia, a rare and degenerative brain disease. He stepped away from acting. But he didn't disappear. His wife, Emma Hemming Willis, along with their daughters and his ex-wife, Demi Moore, have stood beside him with grace and openness. Their message? Bruce is still Bruce. He is loved, supported, and celebrated, not for what he can do, but for who he is. How do you show support when someone you love faces something so difficult? That's a question many families wrestle with, and Bruce's family has become a source of strength for others walking a similar path. They share moments of laughter, music, and togetherness. And when he turned 70 in March 2025, the celebration was filled not with sadness, but with gratitude. Through it all, Bruce has taught us something profound. That true courage is not just about walking through fire. Sometimes, it is about walking through silence with dignity. And even though he is no longer in the spotlight, his light is still shining. Let's take a moment to reflect. What did Bruce Willis mean to you growing up? Was it that Christmas Eve you watched Die Hard with your family? That twist in The Sixth Sense that left you speechless? Or maybe it was seeing a leading man who wasn't perfect, but who always kept going. Tell us in the comments. These memories matter. Because they're not just about movies. They're about the way someone like Bruce Willis helped shape how we see strength, loyalty, and resilience. Today, Bruce lives quietly with his family, surrounded by love and care. He is no longer memorizing scripts or doing stunts, but he does not need to. He gave us decades of unforgettable moments. Now, It's time for us to simply thank him. And thank him we do, for the roles, for the grit, and for reminding us that being a hero is not about what you say, it's about how you live. So, what's your Bruce Willis story? We'd love to hear it. Leave your favorite quote, movie memory, or just a word of appreciation in the comments below. And if his journey has moved you, please like and share this tribute. Let's keep honoring the icons who helped shape our culture, one story at a time. Thank you, Bruce, for being the man who walked through broken glass and into our hearts, and for reminding us that real bravery is sometimes quiet.
Heck no! Ron doesn't care if I use the phone too much. He doesn't even know about it.
Jay North, who forever captured the hearts of American audiences as the spirited Dennis Mitchell in the classic 1960s sitcom Dennis the Menace, passed away on April 6, 2025, at the age of 73, following complications from colorectal cancer. Though his iconic overalls and striped shirt became a symbol of childhood mischief, the man behind the role carried a journey far more complex and deeply human. Born in Hollywood in 1951, Jay was just 6 when he was cast as Dennis, a role that would launch him into national stardom. For 4 seasons, he brought laughter and heart to living rooms across America, portraying a curious boy whose intentions were always good, even if his antics often tested the patience of neighbor Mr. Wilson. Behind the scenes, however, Jay endured personal struggles that shaped his later life. Despite these challenges, he chose to turn hardship into advocacy, becoming a powerful voice for the welfare of child actors. He later found quiet purpose in service, joining the U.S. Navy and eventually working with the Florida Department of Corrections, far from Hollywood's spotlight. Jay's talent extended beyond Dennis. He starred in Maya, voiced characters in beloved animated series, and made a final, self-aware appearance in Dickie Roberts, former child star. More importantly, he was remembered by those close to him as deeply kind, loyal, and humble, a man who ended every phone call with, "I love you with all my heart." Jay North's story is not only one of youthful fame, but of resilience, growth, and grace. He gave us laughter, and in the end, he gave us perspective. His legacy endures in the joy he brought and the compassion he quietly lived.
Pretend nothing's happening.
William Finn, the brilliant and deeply beloved composer and lyricist behind some of Broadway's most poignant musicals, passed away on April 7, 2025, at the age of 73 from pulmonary fibrosis. His partner of 45 years, Arthur Salvador, shared the news, and the theater world paused to remember a voice unlike any other. Born in Boston in 1952 and raised in Natick, Massachusetts, Finn brought a fearless honesty and unique wit to his work. He first captivated audiences with Falsettos, a groundbreaking musical that earned him 2 Tony Awards in 1992. The show offered a tender and courageous look at family, love, and loss during the early days of the AIDS crisis, subjects rarely explored on stage at the time. Later, Finn transformed a personal medical crisis into art with A New Brain, a story born from his own experience with a life-threatening brain condition. Through it, he reminded us all that heart and music keep us alive. In 2005, he delighted Broadway once again with the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, a celebration of youthful vulnerability and quirky charm. That musical went on to become a favorite for schools and community theaters across the country. Beyond his compositions, Finn nurtured the next generation of theater talent. At the Barrington Stage Company, he founded a musical theater lab that gave young writers a chance to find their own voices, just as he had. William Finn's legacy lives in every lyric, every note, and every life touched by his work. His songs made us laugh, cry, and understand each other just a little more. And that, truly, is the music of the heart.
What? I'm curious. I've never met an alcoholic.
What about Uncle Artie?
Shush.
Linda Lavin was a radiant star whose presence lit up American television and theater for more than 6 decades. Born in Portland, Maine in 1937, she rose from local stages to national prominence, capturing hearts with her warmth, wit, and unmistakable voice. She became a household name as Alice Hyatt in the beloved CBS sitcom Alice, which ran from 1976 to 1985. With 2 Golden Globe Awards and an Emmy nomination, Lavin turned a single working mother into a symbol of resilience and hope for millions of viewers. Beyond television, Linda Lavin's stage career was equally rich. She won a Tony Award in 1987 for her performance in Neil Simon's Broadway Bound, and continued to bring depth and intelligence to roles in plays like Collected Stories and The Tale of the Allergist's Wife. She was a force of nature on stage, smart, sharp, and always deeply human. In her final days, Lavin poured her heart into the Hulu series Mid-Century Modern, playing Sybil Schneiderman, a character as complex and endearing as the actress herself. Though her health was in decline due to cardiopulmonary arrest with lung cancer as the underlying cause, she remained committed to her craft. She completed 8 episodes before her passing in December 2024, and the show lovingly honored her in a moving tribute episode, echoing her real-life final moments. Linda Lavin leaves behind a legacy not only of incredible talent, but of compassion, humor, and grace. Her voice, her laughter, and her courage continue to resonate. For those who loved her work, she remains a gentle presence, always just one memory, one scene, one smile away. David Johansson, born January 9, 1950 on Staten Island, was a true original, a musical shapeshifter whose artistry helped define and defy generations. As the magnetic lead singer of the New York Dolls, he lit a fuse beneath the emerging punk rock scene of the 1970s. With songs like Personality Crisis and Bad Girl, Johansson brought a rebellious charm and theatrical flair that inspired countless artists to follow. But David was never one to be boxed in. In the 1980s, he reinvented himself as the dapper, witty Buster Poindexter, charming audiences with the joyful hit Hot, Hot, Hot. He later turned to American roots music with the Harry Smiths, exploring folk and blues with heartfelt authenticity. His creative range even extended to acting, where he brought his spark to roles in Scrooged, Let It Ride, and HBO's Oz. Behind the spotlight, David faced serious health challenges with remarkable grace. For nearly a decade, he lived with advanced cancer, and in his final years, a brain tumor and complications from a fall. Through it all, he remained surrounded by the people and music he loved most. On February 28, 2025, David Johansson passed peacefully at home, with sunlight streaming in and music filling the room. His wife, Mara Hennessy, and stepdaughter Leah were by his side. David's legacy lives on through the sounds he helped shape, the characters he embodied, and the fearless way he lived. He leaves behind not only a body of work that spans decades and genres, but also the memory of a man who never stopped creating, transforming, and inspiring. Mike Ratledge, the visionary keyboardist and founding member of Soft Machine, passed away on February 5, 2025, at the age of 81, following a brief illness. A cornerstone of the progressive rock movement, Ratledge was known not only for his musical brilliance, but also for his intellect, warmth, and lasting influence. Born in Kent, England in 1943, Ratledge was raised in a home where classical music reigned, shaping his early appreciation for structured sound. As a young man at Simon Langton Grammar School, he forged lifelong friendships with future bandmates Robert Wyatt and Hugh Hopper. Their shared love for jazz and experimentation laid the groundwork for what would become one of the most innovative bands of the 1960s and 70s. In 1966, Ratledge co-founded Soft Machine, a band that blended the intensity of rock with the complexity of jazz and the exploratory nature of psychedelia. His wild, exploratory keyboard work became a signature sound on albums like Volume 2, Third, and Bundles. He remained with the band through its many evolutions, always anchoring its sound with depth and creativity. Beyond Soft Machine, Ratledge's talents extended into film, television, and collaborations with artists like Mike Oldfield and Carl Jenkins. Even after stepping back from the public eye, he continued to compose and support musical projects quietly, always guided by curiosity and a love for his craft. Remembered by friends and collaborators as cultured, witty, and generous, Mike Ratledge's legacy is not only etched in the grooves of vinyl, but also in the hearts of those inspired by his fearless artistry. His music continues to echo, timeless, bold, and full of life.
Me, let me have him first. Me! No, I'm first.
Tony Slattery was a luminous presence in British comedy, whose brilliance lit up television screens and stages throughout the 1980s and 90s. Born in North London in 1959, Tony rose from a modest background to become one of the most dynamic performers of his generation. His journey began at Cambridge University, where he joined the legendary Footlights alongside future stars Stephen Fry, Hugh Laurie, and Emma Thompson. His quick wit, emotional depth, and magnetic charm marked him as a standout from the start. Slattery's name became synonymous with improvisational comedy through his iconic appearances on Channel 4's Whose Line Is It Anyway?, where his unpredictable humor and poetic spontaneity thrilled audiences. He was equally captivating in theater, earning an Olivier Award nomination for his role in Neville's Island, and shined in films such as Peter's Friends and The Crying Game. Despite a period of intense public visibility, Tony stepped back from the limelight as he faced significant personal health challenges, including a diagnosis that shaped his later years with courage and honesty. He became a quiet advocate for mental health awareness, using his voice to bring empathy and understanding to others walking a similar path. Tony Slattery passed away on January 14, 2025, at the age of 65, following a heart attack. He was at home, surrounded by the love of his longtime partner, Mark Michael Hutchinson. In his final years, Tony found renewed joy through podcasting and live appearances, connecting deeply with fans who cherished his humanity as much as his humor. His legacy is not only in the laughter he sparked, but in the sincerity and depth he brought to every role and every life he touched.
Nearly a year to do this over a period of time because of all the restrictions with the weather and then COVID and so on.
John St. Ryan was a British actor, horseman, and all-around Renaissance soul whose journey spanned continents and careers, always guided by deep passion and quiet grace. Born in 1953 in Burnley, Lancashire, he first made his mark as a martial arts teacher before stepping into the world of acting. His early roles included stunt work alongside Sean Connery, but it was on British television that audiences first came to know him as Charlie Whelan in Coronation Street, appearing in over 60 episodes between 1987 and 1993. Beyond the cobbled streets of Weatherfield, John made a name for himself in American television as well, with memorable appearances on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Murder, She Wrote, Babylon 5, and The Twilight Zone. His versatility as an actor also led him to film roles, including the antagonist in American Cyborg, Steel Warrior, and a key part opposite Heath Ledger in Roar. But perhaps his most profound work came not in front of the camera, but in the wide-open spaces of California. In the 1990s, John moved to the U.S. and founded the Red Rose Ranch, dedicating his life to training horses and riders. A master of the Doma Vaquera tradition, he earned national and international acclaim, always blending old-world elegance with an open-hearted teaching style. On April 3, 2025, John St. Ryan passed away from a heart attack at the age of 72, surrounded by family. In life and in work, he embodied quiet strength, artistry, and deep humility. His legacy rides on, in the characters he brought to life, the horses he trained with care, and the hearts of those who loved him.
No one would notice me because I was always there.
Then what happened?
I was supposed to go to the study.
Mark Dobies was a gifted and passionate American actor whose life journey was as heartfelt as it was inspiring. Born on April 3, 1959 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Mark first made his mark on the football field, earning a scholarship to Delaware Valley University and helping lead his team to a championship in 1980. But it was his transition from athlete to artist that revealed the full scope of his talent. Mark's screen career took off in the late 1990s with early appearances in Fame LA and Guiding Light, but he is best remembered for his powerful portrayal of District Attorney Daniel Coulson on One Life to Live. His role, layered with complexity and emotion, sparked important conversations and showcased his ability to bring depth and humanity to even the most conflicted characters. In 2004, he took to the stage in the off-Broadway revival of The Normal Heart, reaffirming his versatility and dedication to the craft of storytelling. Away from the spotlight, Mark remained grounded by his love for family and fitness. He completed triathlons, trained others, and cheered passionately for the Philadelphia Eagles, never forgetting the joy of celebrating their Super Bowl win with his son, a moment his family will always cherish. On March 11, 2025, Mark Dobies passed away in Dunellen, New Jersey, at the age of 65. He is remembered by his children, Francesca, Olivia, and Robert, as a devoted father, and by all who knew him as a man of kindness, warmth, and strength. Mark's legacy lives on in the roles he played and the lives he touched, with every scene, every smile, and every story he helped bring to life. Carol Dandrea, born on August 28, 1937, in Altoona, Pennsylvania, was a radiant presence in American theater and film. She first captivated audiences as Velma in the original 1957 Broadway production of West Side Story, a role she reprised in the 1961 Oscar-winning film adaptation. Her performance, marked by grace and vitality, contributed to the enduring legacy of this classic musical. Beyond West Side Story, Dandrea showcased her versatility in productions like Gypsy and appeared in the 1985 documentary That's Dancing, celebrating the art of dance. Her passion for performance extended into education, where she became a respected acting teacher, inspiring students with her experience and dedication. In her personal life, Carol was married to Tony Award-winning actor Robert Morse from 1961 to 1981, and together they had 3 daughters, Andrea, Robin, and Hillary. She cherished her role as a mother and grandmother, often expressing that her family was her greatest achievement. Carol Dandrea passed away peacefully at her home on March 11, 2025, due to heart failure, coinciding poignantly with the 44th anniversary of her sobriety, a milestone she held dear. Her daughters shared that in her final days, she reflected on a life filled with love, artistry, and purpose. Her legacy endures through the indelible mark she left on stage and screen, and in the hearts of those she taught and inspired. Carol Dandrea's life was a testament to the transformative power of the arts and the enduring strength of the human spirit.
and that's where I was wanting to go.
Jack Wedell was a pioneering American opera singer whose life and career broke barriers with grace, courage, and a remarkable voice. Born in 1941 in Bloomington, Illinois, Wedell first shone as a high school football star and standout vocalist in his school choir. His path to music was sparked by his teacher's encouragement and nurtured by private voice studies. He earned a scholarship to Illinois Wesleyan University, where he was one of the only African-American students, graduating in 1963 with a degree in vocal performance. Facing limited opportunities at home due to racial discrimination, Wedell turned to Europe, where his talent was embraced. Settling in West Germany, he became a celebrated tenor on the opera circuit, performing on television and prestigious stages. His expressive voice captivated audiences, and his emotional tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in a Munich memorial concert remains one of his most revered performances. In the 1980s, Wedell returned to the U.S. and devoted his later years to teaching, becoming a sought-after voice coach in New York. His students went on to light up Broadway, and his reputation as a nurturing, demanding, and deeply insightful mentor grew. In 2023, he was honored by the American Theater Wing as an unsung hero of Broadway. Jack Wedell passed away on January 1, 2025, at the age of 83 after a brief illness, surrounded by loved ones in his hometown. Though his stage was global, his heart remained close to the community that first heard his song. His legacy lives on through the voices he shaped, the walls he helped tear down, and the music that continues to echo in hearts across generations. Anthony DeLo Jr., affectionately known as Timmy to those closest to him, was a cherished figure in the world of independent film and theater, remembered for both his artistic spirit and his generous heart. Born in 1949, Anthony found his most iconic role as Private Miguel Salazar in George A. Romero's Day of the Dead, 1985, where his deeply human portrayal of a soldier unraveling under pressure left a lasting impression on audiences and critics alike. Throughout the 1980s and early 90s, Anthony became a frequent collaborator with Romero, contributing memorable performances in cult classics like Night Riders, Monkey Shines, Two Evil Eyes, and the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. His expressive face and soulful presence made him a standout in the horror genre, but it was his off-screen warmth that made him unforgettable to colleagues and fans. In addition to his work on screen, Anthony was a gifted musician and pianist. Music was a true passion for him, one he often shared in private gatherings, where his voice and piano filled the room with joy. Friends remember him as someone who brought light to every set, always ready with a story, a joke, or a song. Anthony passed away peacefully on February 7, 2025, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, from complications related to COVID-19. He was surrounded by love, music, and nature, three things he held dear. His co-star Laurie Cardill reflected, "He made me laugh every day during Day of the Dead. His heart was full of love for animals, family, and his fans." Anthony DeLo Jr.'s legacy endures in the films that continue to inspire and in the memories of those who were lucky enough to know his warmth, humor, and immense talent.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
Breaking news. Macaulay Kulkin, From Home Alone to Peace of Mind, the remarkable journey of a Hollywood icon. He was once the face of Christmas, the clever boy who outsmarted two burglars and won the hearts of millions. But whatever happened to Macaulay Kulkin, the child actor who became a household name before he was even a teenager? Today, we dive into his extraordinary journey, one filled with soaring success, painful trials, and ultimately, a hard-earned return to peace and purpose. And before we begin, tell us, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much of a part did Home Alone play in your childhood? Born on August 26, 1980 in New York City, Macaulay Kulkin was destined for stardom at an early age. The third of 7 children, he was raised in a working-class family and introduced to the entertainment world by his father, Kit Kulkin, a former stage actor who also became his manager. Macaulay began acting in commercials at age 4, but it was at just 10 years old that he took the world by storm. In 1990, Home Alone was released, a film that would become an instant classic. Culkin's portrayal of Kevin McAllister, the mischievous but lovable boy left behind by his family, made him an international sensation. He reprised the role in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, 1992, solidifying his place in cinematic history. By the early 1990s, Kulkin was one of the most famous and highest-paid child actors in Hollywood. His name alone could draw crowds to theaters. But behind the scenes, life was not as idyllic. Fame came at a steep price. Macaulay was caught in a storm of industry demands and family tensions. His father's tight control over his career and the constant pressure to perform led to emotional strain. By the time he reached his teens, he had appeared in over a dozen films, including My Girl, The Good Son, Richie Rich, and The Pagemaster. But at the peak of his stardom, he made a bold decision. He stepped away from Hollywood. In 1995, Kulkin announced a hiatus from acting. At only 15, he began what he would later describe as a much-needed journey inward. Part of that break involved legally removing his parents from control over his fortune. The move marked the beginning of a long process of reclaiming his identity, away from the fame that had defined him. Throughout the 2000s, Kulkin stayed largely out of the spotlight, occasionally appearing in indie films such as Party Monster and Saved. He also explored other creative outlets, including music. He formed a comedy rock band called The Pizza Underground, which parodied songs by the Velvet Underground with pizza-themed lyrics, a move that revealed his offbeat sense of humor and desire to do things on his own terms. His personal life, however, remained the subject of public curiosity. He faced painful personal losses, including the passing of 2 siblings. Paparazzi photos and speculative headlines painted a picture of instability, especially during the early 2010s when he appeared gaunt and withdrawn in public. Yet despite the rumors, Kulkin maintained that he was doing well, just living life outside the Hollywood bubble. In interviews, Kulkin later opened up about these years, explaining how fame had interrupted his childhood and adulthood alike. "I had no time to be a kid," he once shared. "I was a professional before I knew how to be a person." What helped him rebuild was time, creativity, and connection. In 2017, he began a relationship with actress Brenda Song, best known for her work on Disney Channel. The couple welcomed their first child, Dakota, in 2021, named in honor of Kulkin's late sister. A second son, Carson, followed in 2023. In interviews, Kulkin has called fatherhood the greatest joy of his life. The couple lives quietly, away from the glare of Los Angeles, focusing on their family. His return to the public eye came gradually and on his own terms. In 2021, he appeared in American Horror Story, double feature, marking his most high-profile acting role in years. Critics and fans praised his performance, noting the maturity and nuance he brought to the screen. Then, in December 2023, Kulkin received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a full-circle moment attended by Brenda Song and his former Home Alone co-star, Catherine O'Hara, who gave a touching tribute. But Kulkin's journey was not just about returning to Hollywood. It was about healing. He has been open about the challenges of growing up in the spotlight, including estrangement from his father and the emotional toll of being a child celebrity. In recent years, he has found ways to process those experiences through comedy, writing, and podcasts. His website, Bunny Ears, satirizes wellness trends and celebrity culture, offering a glimpse into his wit and self-awareness. Unlike many who struggle to escape the shadow of early fame, Macaulay Kulkin has carved out a new life, one that embraces the past without being trapped by it. He has no desire to chase the spotlight as he once did. "I am happy," he once told an interviewer. "I have a family, I have love, and I have control over my life. That is more than I ever had before." In early 2025, he made headlines again, not for controversy, but for standing up against one. He criticized a television network for exploiting the trauma of former child stars in a documentary series, stating that such stories should be told with care, not sensationalism. His words resonated with many who admired his maturity and advocacy for healthier portrayals of childhood fame. So, where does that leave him today? Macaulay Kulkin is no longer just the boy from Home Alone. He is a father, a partner, a writer, a musician, and an artist navigating life with depth and humor. His path has been far from easy, marred by public scrutiny, emotional hardship, and personal battles, yet his ability to rebuild, redefine, and reclaim his life is a testament to quiet strength. And now, we would love to hear from you. What are your memories of Macaulay Kulkin? Has his story inspired you to reflect on the pressures of fame or the importance of personal reinvention? Share your thoughts with us as we celebrate a man who has grown up not just in front of the camera, but beyond it. Because sometimes, the most extraordinary journeys begin with walking away and coming home on your own terms.